Well, a video like this is also very long overdue. Well, Bizarro Critic, were you looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3? Wasn't everybody looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3?
Dude, everyone and their grandmother was looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3.
Weren't your expectations, like, glorious levels of expectations?
No, but that's because the spin-offs started to slowly just break my will.
And they just kept building up to something that was going to be grand, something that was going to be spectacular. And Square Enix and Disney were probably hoping you'd buy into that whole shit, but did they fucking show us by not even coming fucking close? Holy fuck, this whole game did not live up to the quality of any Kingdom Hearts game that came before it. It didn't even match the fucking quality of the other mainstream installment in 2006 with Kingdom Hearts 2. I can pretty much summarize the whole development process for Kingdom Hearts 3 in a few seconds. Where, like, well, we clearly care much more about Final Fantasy and all these other glorious products of ours, and we're sick and tired of people bitching about Kingdom Hearts 3 all the time, so here you go. We're just gonna put some of these contemporary Disney shit and wrap up all these stories and stuff like that, and we can just move on. Oh, god damn. So,
You done now?
Oh, I've barely begun. I probably could rant on much longer instantaneously if we had done this sooner. At this point, it has been almost a month since I finally finished this fucking game, and now we're here making this vlog out of the blue. It's been even longer for you because
I finished before you, which was really surprising.
Especially considering when I'm going to say right here off the bat, when I was making a Let's Play, it's one of the very first Let's Plays I was making, my tech stuff broke, and I just freaked out, and then like a total idiot, I watched the rest of it online, the rest of the Kingdom Hearts 3 story cutscenes online, because I wanted to see how it ended, and boy, was that a big fucking mistake, and one that I will never make again.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to finish it myself to experience for myself how this all came together, both the cutscenes and the gameplay.
Yeah, he checked out the cutscenes right before I finished the game, and I actually remember that when I called you, because I think we were asking you were just talking to say hi and stuff. You asked me how far I was in the game, and I told you I was like at the Pirates of the Caribbean level, and you were just like, you wanted to rant more about it, but you knew that I wasn't going to check out the gameplay, check out the cutscene until I finished the game.
Whatever, like, where do we even start with this? I mean, I know there's a bunch of stuff I want to get off the bat.
Let's start with the good, because there is some good here, and then we'll move on to the shit. And then
all right, the graphics are amazing.
Yeah.
Like, for this game, this franchise, believe it or not, is almost 20 years old at this point.
Yeah, we were just youngins when this game started.
It's come a long way since then. I was in elementary school. He was in elementary school.
Yeah.
Very, very little elementary school for both of us. And for me, it was one of those, like Harry Potter or Star Wars, it was one of those things that changed my life as a kid.
Yeah, I will say Kingdom Hearts didn't impact me as much. I was more of a Final Fantasy kid when it came to RPGs. And even then, I wasn't super big on RPGs, so... but my cousin did play the game, and I checked out them. The ones I played the most was Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, and later on I played Dream Drop Distance. And I had fun playing each of those games, and the story was always interesting to me, though the history behind Kingdom Hearts really is kind of just sad to hear.
I'm just gonna say right off the bat, Dream Drop Distance was the weakest of the games, of all the games that I had seen and or played over the years, until Kingdom Hearts 3 came around. The Kingdom Hearts 3 is definitely the worst of these games, despite its achievements. I mean, I'm sure Square Enix and Disney would love to exploit their achievements as much as possible, because like we were saying, the graphics are amazing. They're appropriated enough for this franchise. I mean, on the one hand, I kind of wish they were Final Fantasy 15 good, and these other Final Fantasy graphic good. It's good.
If you say Final Fantasy, they treat Final Fantasy with more respect. I kind of have to disagree with you, because 15 still pisses me off.
But it pisses me off, but in comparison with this,
it's worse for you.
Yeah, it did. 15 did a lot more right than this did. Even World of Final Fantasy, which was deliberately a kid-themed oriented game.
Yeah,
it held up a lot better. I mean, it was unbelievably slow. It was so slow and tedious, but the story and the characters held up a lot better than I expected.
Yeah, but as for the gameplay, which is one thing I like the gameplay and stuff in Kingdom Hearts 3. I fucking dug it. It had some really cool stuff that they did there. The issue being that when it comes to the narrative, a lot of those things, like the summoning of the Disney rides,
yes,
and the character summons, like there's no real explanation for those, and the character rides are fun. Like, don't get me wrong, all the summons and stuff, they are fun, they are cool to do. Simba was probably my favorite one to use. I think I used it the most out of
I did have some fun with it, but then I forgot about it, and
I used it a lot in the Frozen one, not because I thought fire would actually help. I just thought it'd be kind of cool to do a whole, I'm riding a fire light in an Ice Kingdom.
Let it go, bitch.
Yep, let it burn. But that was my thing. I just really, but yeah, the gameplay's fun, and I really do love that. I also like that the open world looked really good. They did a really good job for most of them, except for Pirates, which is hands down my least favorite out of everything. It sucks in both. The gameplay isn't as terrible, but it's pretty weak. The open world's so weak, and the story just sucks donkey ass. It's just like, you know. And also the boss fight. Oh my fucking god, that boss fight with a freaking flying thing. He had an easier time than I did, but for me, I hated that goddamn vulture.
Because the game was encouraging you to ride on these colored clouds, but they're so hard to get on.
Yeah, well, like the cloud was easy, but the problem is how to control the freaking little heartless bat creature things. Those were harder to control. I was actually having problems, trying to, fly that damn thing.
Really? When you rode on the Heartless?
It was, the issue was, the aiming was not great with that thing when I tried firing with it. And, eventually I was like, screw it. Luckily the Big Hero 6 one is easier. In fact, Big Hero 6, I think, did a better job when it came to story.
Yes,
out of everyone.
It did.
But, hell, I actually kind of want to say that I honestly like to pretend that is canon with the TV show. Out of all that Kingdom Hearts stuff. But yeah, when it comes to that, when it comes to the Pirates level, that is probably the weakest. But yeah, the other levels are pretty fun to do. I think the voice acting's good. Like, a lot of the voice actors, even the ones who brought in even the actors who were not from the original movies or even the previous games, they did a good job. Especially the actor who played Jack Sparrow. I honestly, for a brief second, I thought that was Johnny Depp originally when I first saw that scene. And
as far as characters go, there's a lot more dialogue, there's a lot more voice acting in this game than probably in any other game. Even in the most subtle of ways. Like, you can talk. First of all, there's populations. There's actually populations in these worlds. It's no longer just like
maybe Agrabah.
It's no longer just maybe 5 or 6 people at most in one location.
Yeah.
And you can only talk to them through the text bubbles, through the text boxes, whatever.
They have voices. And also you can interact with them in other ways, too. Like, they have, these fun little things where Sora can... Because one thing they want this game to do, they really want you to feel like Sora and exploring this world, because Sora gets to explore a little bit, he either will do like a little dance or he'll try to entertain everyone in some weird way. That's actually kind of fun. A nice little touch for people who were really into that type of detail, who are really in for that type of gameplay.
Yeah, the more I played or watched the old games, I'm like, it suddenly dawned on me, why did none of these worlds have their people wandering around, especially in these towns and stuff?
Yeah.
Shouldn't there be people walking
Though,
around?
the only question I have, though, and everyone brings this up, hell, Team 4-Star did when they talked about on their Stream 4-Star account, check them out if you haven't seen it, there's like a funny moment where like they bring up the fact that Donald and Goofy, how the hell are doing freaked out by these things? Especially in the worlds where like magic is... Like in the Pirates of the Caribbean one especially, I'm like, the crew is like exhausted and tired and there's no food or water. I'm like, well, you got the duck. Like I'm a pirate down there and I'm seeing a big ass duck. I'm like, I'm hungry. I'm eating it. The dog's next if I don't find food later.
I've bitched about it so much to myself in the past when it came to Mulan, because that level was so fucking stupid in Kingdom Hearts 2 where Shang got all dicky over Ping. Yeah, he didn't get dicky over a teenage boy, and
who's clearly not even from here. And look, back then, and look, back in those ancient times, they weren't kind to outsiders.
And they, and the giant duck and dog, who are even more out of place.
No one just called Demon! Like, no one just does that.
Of all the disguises, of all the forms they should have taken, maybe Donald and Goofy should have taken human form in some of these places.
Yeah, like with Big Hero 6, I was more accepting, because again, I do, with the choices of voice actors, because they did go for the TV voice actors for some of the characters in that that level. I kind of, I'm like, okay, I'm more accepting, especially since Season 2 does dive into animal hybrids and mutations.
If I gotta remember to bring a very important voice actor trivia thing in regards to Tangled, if you catch my drift.
Yeah,
so I'll have to get to that when we get to Tangled. Let's see, what other good stuff is there? Amazing graphics, great gameplay, despite some of it being very out of place.
The soundtrack's still amazing. It does have
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like, compared to...
80... Hey, do you love music from the other games?
Yep.
Do you love remixes even more of past soundtracks? Well, guess what? 80 to 90% of Kingdom Hearts 3 soundtrack is just alternate renditions of past soundtracks from the original game.
I was talking about the other worlds, but yeah,
Kingdom Hearts 2 and stuff.
Also, I'm scraping in the bottom of the barrel on that part, man.
I do like that the Disney worlds have their own special theme musics and stuff, and battle theme musics and stuff.
Yeah.
For the most part, I mean, Toy Story...
No, that one was literally...
Did the Toy Story world really need just a soft version of "You Got a Friend in Me" in the background? Did we really need that? And
I was okay with it.
Even though the Disney worlds have their exclusive themes and stuff, they don't come in anywhere as often as the recycled musics from the other games, which at this point, I would think everybody is sick and tired of hearing, and they can recognize it right off the bat, like, oh, it's Shrouding Dark Cloud, or it's Squirming Evil.
The only other thing I'll give it is that, and this is and I'm being serious, I'm being generous here because they're so far from between when they actually occur. They do get some pretty epic moments in the story. And I'm saying this very generously, again. Like, they do get some epic moments. Like, the scene with Terra showing up and him, taking off the gauze and just repeating the phrase, "I will make this right." That's a badass moment right there, and that's a cool way to introduce him. Granted, there's some plot holes with that because we just saw the Lingering Will, and I'm like, wait, if you're the Lingering Will, then who the hell is that guy? Type of moment. But... yeah, sometimes we'll get some really cool moments with characters that we really want to see in the beginning and stuff. But, yeah. Now for the bad, let's just get this part over. Let's just tear this... What?
Again, to summarize the music, most of the music, apart from the Disney World's exclusive themes and stuff, is just recycled crap. And, seriously, how fucking hard is it to make new theme musics, new soundtracks for all this other non-Disney... all these non-Disney scenarios in regards to Kingdom Hearts? I would think it's not that difficult in comparison to other things to work out.
Yeah. Then there's also the issue I was just about to bring up, starting with the bad, that is the story. Because oh my god, this thing requires you like. This isn't like This isn't like
they fucking lied to you. Okay, they fucking.
This isn't the end. At first, like when they first promoted this game, they kept saying this is the end. We're gonna be done after this. We're not doing any more Kingdom Hearts. Then
That's
right.
what you got out of it.
No. I'm just starting with like when it first began, like how this process started. They lied first by saying this is the end. Sometime later, they revealed, oh no, this isn't the end. In fact, this whole thing has been a story arc called, what did they call this story arc? The Dark...
This is the Dark Seeker Saga, or the Xehanort Saga.
Yeah, okay. And then, they start there. Then also, they kept talking about how they were going to tie everything up. No, they didn't. They end things, but then they add a whole bunch of things. Like,
yes.
Like, for example, there's like a whole thing where, like, let's start small. Let's start small right now, because if we go with the big ones, we're going to take forever. Let's start with a small one. When Larxine's defeated, we're like, okay, Larxine's defeated. But then she says, oh, I came along for the ride. And he's like, what? My secret. Okay, who the fuck were you talking about? What the hell does that mean? Also, then we have this whole big reveal with Xigbar, where it turns out Xigbar is Lushu, which is a cool twist, and that's been a fan theory. But here's the thing. Why were you doing this? Why were you posing as why did you pose as just a guy instead of this revealing that you're a Keyblade guy? Just say you have a Keyblade. You don't have to, like, say, oh, I'm Lushu and stuff. Just don't tell everyone, Xehanort. No, just say, hey, I'm a Keyblade wielder. That's it. You don't have to pretend to be a false guy.
And for a long time, Xigbar's always been essentially the most evil right-hand man of the bad guys group, you know? And you're left wondering what's his ultimate motive, or what's his backstory and stuff. What is he getting out of all this? But as much as I like the Lushu plot twist and all, it just gets really confusing at the same time. I mean, this doesn't feel... Kingdom Hearts 3 as a whole, it doesn't feel like a finale.
It feels like a backdoor pilot. It
feels like a backdoor pilot, and most of it is just shameless Disney pandering and cashing in on the most popular recent Disney hits, even more than they did in the other games. This was a problem with the other games too. That it got progressively worse. Birth by Sleep. I don't understand why Birth by Sleep is so beloved by fans, because most of it is literally just old-fashioned Disney taking up most of the screen time, and the main characters have really awkward interactions with those worlds and characters respectively, and it's so awkwardly put together that it feels like they don't really have their own story going on, their own story arc going on. It's all about Snow White or Cinderella or Aurora and so forth.
I feel like with this one, when it came to the story and it comes to the worlds, they seriously try too hard to force relationships in sometimes. Like Frozen being the worst. We're like, remember when like Sora's like, you know, she would never fall into darkness. And I'm like, you just met this woman and only talked to her for 15 seconds.
Sora is so fucking childish in this movie.
Yeah, like he's not. Where's your maturity, man?
He's not the same character that he was in the original game, let alone the second game.
And Donald and Goofy are being assholes for some reason.
Oh my god, they were.
I don't get it, though.
What the fuck was up with everybody? Everybody was being an asshole to Sora.
Yeah.
You do remember who this character is, right? Who this guy is? He himself essentially is the one who began it all, because he was one of the only survivors of Destiny Islands when they were destroyed, and he went out on this journey to find the only two people he had left from his homeworld, even though they may as well have been dead. Riku and Kairi may as well have been dead, but he was going to search for them.
Yeah.
And he did not fuck around in the original game. He didn't even say too much after the early parts of the game. He only spoke when he needed to, and when he spoke, it was awesome. Like, one of the only things he said at all when he was in Agrabah was, "Okay, Jafar, back to your lamp." Or much earlier, when they're first meeting the genie, and the only thing he says in that cutscene was, "I guess you don't get out that much, huh?" That was the only thing Sora said in that cutscene.
Yeah, and then we have this in here where Sora, they try so hard for him to interact with everyone, and it just doesn't work for most of them. Like, okay, it worked for Big Hero 6. I thought that was kind of fun with him trying to do, you know, trying to joke around, calling himself Key Heroes 3 or something. I thought that was kind of funny, and that was it. But then we got stuff like, again, the Frozen thing. Why are you so, like, why are you trying so goddamn hard to treat, like, him and Elsa know each other? They don't know each other. They literally met and talked for, like, maybe 15 seconds.
That's one of the most juvenile things imaginable, is when you think you know somebody just by meeting them for a short amount of time.
Yeah, it's so freaking stupid. And then, also, we got this whole thing in Tangled where Sora is trying to, Sora is talking to Flynn, and, like, he's immediately just going along with Flynn's, Flynn's, or Eugene, because, it's a real frickin' name, and I know they call him that in Tangled, or the Tangled series. But, why are you going along with this man's plan? You literally just met this guy, and you don't know, the importance of this girl here at this point.
Yeah, the Dream Drop Distance actually pointed this out, which I was trying to explain before, with the whole Disney pandering. That's the problem with this franchise in general. It panders Disney more and more, probably per installment, and that was
really felt imbalanced.
That was especially the case with Dream Drop Distance. But in comparison, Dream Drop Distance at least had its own background story arc where everything was tying together, and it did decently enough that. But at the same time, all the Disney stuff was just so overwhelming and distracting, and it felt, like you said, unbalanced.
Yeah.
What made
Thanos would not be pleased.
What made Kingdom Hearts stand out so much, make it so special for so many of us, was how balanced it was.
Yeah.
Even in the old days, especially with the original game, because right off the bat, the very premise
They even ignore Final Fantasy. They actually ignore all.
God.
Like, Cloud gets at least one reference in this entire freaking game. It is the only time they reference Cloud. It is the only Final Fantasy reference.
Like I was saying,
Hercules.
Like I was saying earlier, and I'll get to the Final Fantasy stuff in a second. Tetsuya Nomura, who is now probably more infamous than ever.
Yeah.
He had a mixed bag of reputation beforehand, but now a lot of people are angry at him. A lot of people are fucking had it with him. I fucking had it with him. I've lost so much respect for Nomura. I am convinced he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing anymore. And Nomura said before, no Disney Worlds from past games are coming back. Oh look, there's Olympus. There's Hercules World. Hercules World came back. Pirates came back, and he said, we wanted to do at least one live-action world. Yes, because there's no live-action worlds that you could do except for Pirates. Or Tron, for that matter. And you did Tron in Dream Drop Distance in a very bizarre way.
Like, it couldn't even do Tomorrowland. I would have been cool with Tomorrowland. Granted, there wasn't really much.
They could have done Narnia.
They can't do that. Fox owns it now. Oh wait, no. Well, actually, no. Fox is now owned by Disney now, but that was way before that.
Well, they could have done Narnia. Even though the live-action films are much more obscure in comparison to the animated films and such.
Hell, Mary Poppins would have made more goddamn sense in this.
Yeah, Mary Poppins. Do fucking Mary Poppins. Why the fuck not?
Even if it's a freaking, it's like that Winnie the Pooh level where it's literally just like a bonus level, which I actually ignored it the first time I played it. I forgot all about that.
For all those people who were so upset that the Winnie the Pooh levels were fucking pointless and that the mini games are awful, whatever, Nomura apparently heard your call and made this the absolute worst of them. Where it's literally just the same mini game 3 times, and there's virtually no story whatsoever except Sora's connection with Pooh is getting weaker. What's going on? And then they just leave it at that. And this is the only time that Merlin shows up.
Yeah, they keep talking up. Okay, because again, for me, I kind of skipped the Winnie the Pooh stuff. I didn't even acknowledge it because I didn't think it was really worth my time.
Are you going to bring up that they keep mentioning?
Yeah, they keep mentioning him. They keep talking about how he performed all these amazing spells and how he was training Axel. Because yes, that's what they decided to call him. They didn't decide not to call him Lee. They decided to call him Axel, which I'm down for. And Kyrie with his Keyblade training, which leads to nothing. They don't do jack. They
keep saying Merlin is training them, but he doesn't bring it up at all during the one scenario he appears in.
And we never even see how. And here's the thing: why is Merlin training these kids to be... Like, I just find it weird that Merlin's the one that's training them. Why not
He's
Yensid?
a fucking wizard!
Well,
He's a fucking sorcerer!
Well, here's the thing. Yensid trained Sora and stuff. I'm forgiving on that one, because he's also a wizard, but...
He used to be a Keyblade master himself, but
Yeah.
he gave up his Keyblade or whatever, and I hate Yensid. I've hated Yensid for years.
I like Yensid, but my issue with him is that, you know... But maybe it's because they actually did more with him a little bit in here, especially since he actually helps out, which does lead to the question of, if you could just show up and park them like it's the frickin' and park them like that,
Yes.
why the hell didn't you do that before? There are literally hundreds of times where you could have done that to save these kids. I know that you're trying to train them and all, but come on, dude. If you knew they were in trouble in the first place, why didn't you just pop up and save them? And then we have this whole thing with, Kyrie and Axel, where they build up that, oh, this game, you get to finally see them use Keyblades. You get to finally use Keyblades, and you get to play as them. Correction,
No.
you get to play as Roxas, or not
No.
Roxas, sorry. But no, you only get to play as one other character in this whole game, besides Sora.
Riku.
Yeah, you
and
get to play him as Riku.
You barely played.
You play him once.
I think it was twice.
Wait, did you play him? Oh yeah, you do play him
you
twice.
play him 2 or 3 times. You barely do anything with it.
Yeah.
A lot of fans thought that you were going to play as Sora, Riku, and Kairi.
And you don't.
And that's what Birth by Sleep was alluding to. I thought Birth by Sleep was alluding to that with...
That we were going to do the same thing we did with Axel.
Well, no. That we're going to do what we did with Terra, Ventus, and Aqua, in which all the 3 main characters were going to have their own story arcs and stuff, but with Sora as the main focus. Like, he was literally going to take
it was going to be a chapter thing. Like, one chapter is going to be Sora, one chapter is going to be Riku, one chapter is going to be Kairi.
Well, considering that Sora was still essentially the central character, it was going to be like half of it was Sora, and then like a third of it was Riku, and then a quarter of it was Kairi, or something like that.
I honestly thought, hell, every time Kairi and Axel showed up on screen, I was like...
When Kairi did show up. Kairi was barely in this fucking game.
Yeah, I'm saying, like, when she does show up, I honestly was like, oh, are we doing a... Okay, because the way they talk about certain things, I was starting to think, oh, we're going to do like a little mini game, a little bonus level, just have fun. Nope, just them talking and Axel revealing that he's still trying to regain some of his memories and that he doesn't want to go by Lee. And then when we finally see them with Keyblades, they don't do jack. Okay, Axel charges once, once and just gets taken out, and then he has to be saved by Roxas. And then they have this whole thing with Kairi where she gets taken out multiple times and dies twice. Technically twice, because Sora dies and he has to go through that weird heaven level, which is kind of a cool trippy moment right there. But, yeah, and then we got... Oh, yeah, let's talk about the biggest part of this story, biggest issue with the story. The fucking prophecy. What was the prophecy again? Just tell me what that prophecy was about the 7 Keyblade wielders and who they had to fight.
What do you mean? What exactly do you mean prophecy? Do you mean the Book of Prophecies?
Well, I'm talking about the big thing about how this ritual is supposed to go down where, we have 13 Keyblade wielders on darkness and 13...
is this... No, 7 of light.
Yeah, 7 of light, 13 of darkness.
Are you bringing it up what I think you're bringing it up?
Hell yeah. Where... The funny thing, where the bad guys, they need 13 Keyblade wielders, right?
And
they don't have any. They don't, okay, they have...
It's just the same weapons we've seen over and over again in these past games.
And none of these guys are Keyblade wielders.
This is supposed to be the second, or at least, it's supposed to be Xehanort's Keyblade War.
Yeah.
And they don't have Keyblades.
Yeah, like, the only ones that have Keyblades are Xehanort, Nobody Xehanort, Heartless Xehanort, not Nobody. Nobody Xehanort has a lightsaber thing going on. We have Terranort, and then we have the past Xehanort, which boggles my mind because that leads to so many goddamn questions. So, yeah, and that's it. Oh, and Xigbar, but you don't know Xigbar's Lushu yet. So, did Xehanort know about that yet? Because Xigbar even says why he's doing this. he gives he says he even says to Sora, "I just want the Keyblade." That's it.
In regards to story, I think this was one of the things.
Oh yeah, I almost forgot Riku, the other Dark Riku. I forgot about that.
Oh,
that was another Keyblade wielder.
Who was? Damn it.
Dark Riku.
I thought you were talking about the Riku replica, but we'll get to him later.
Yeah.
And then in regards to Tetsuya Nomura, I think he said stuff about how this will be welcoming to newcomers.
No, it is not.
You don't. I mean, they have
their
recap videos, but even then it doesn't matter. First of all, Nomura said that the recap videos were going to be hours long, because 25 minutes of recap videos equals 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah, and also,
at least that's what I saw in like some particular parts of videos, or the thumbnails, the title of the videos and stuff. God,
they do not last long. Also, the weird
they don't explain to you what the hell's going on. This game has horrible reintroduction of these characters. Like, people who are playing this game for the first time, and there are people who are going to play this game for the first time.
Yeah.
They're not going to know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah, like my brother, one of my brothers who have never played these games, he saw that I was enjoying the gameplay and stuff, and he saw the gameplay was fun, and he wanted to borrow it from me. And I was like, well, dude, the story's kind of complicated. You're not going to get it. He's like, dude, I'm pretty sure they did a good job doing newcomers. He gave up halfway when it came to the story. He did not understand what the fuck was going on.
Thanks, Nomura. Thanks, Square Enix. You did wonderful bringing in, inviting newcomers.
Yeah,
for this. You didn't even start on Destiny Islands. I thought they were going to start on Destiny Islands because
we go back to Olympus, which
right from the start.
And literally, the game has acknowledged, and we brought this up multiple times. The game has acknowledged that they're literally doing the same thing they did in the previous game, except now they're doing it in
apart from all the gameplay achievements and technical achievements and stuff, Kingdom Hearts 3, it is literally the exact same thing that we've seen and played for years now. It's virtually non-different. It's virtually the exact same thing.
Yeah, also, okay, let's talk about the story when it comes to individual worlds. When it came to Hercules, it's just a tutorial world, that's all it is. It's just there to be.
Oh my god, I fucking hated Hercules' world.
Yeah.
That was so. That was.
It was pointless.
That was garbage. Okay, that was garbage.
The only thing
I was literally yelling out at the end. I don't know if it was in my play videos, but I literally wanted to yell out at the end. You've got to be fucking kidding me with this!
This already.
You got to be fucking kidding me with this lazy garbage.
The one I would have wished they did. This would kind of be fun and kind of clever. Have it where Hercules is fighting maybe villains from the TV show. Why not have it where he's fighting the mother of monsters, or he's fighting off. And
they'll probably throw this horseshit excuse of, but people don't remember that. Kids don't know about those shows. Kids of today know about those shows.
Oh shit! They have parents in the '90s. They're definitely gonna know about it because their parents like to share with their kids all this stuff, like to share stuff that they watch as a kids. I know that because I have all those parents.
We're trying to appeal to the kids. It's all about the kids, and on the one hand, yeah, that's definitely what they're trying to appeal to. Even though, literally 99% of their audience is young adults who grew up with the original.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing: if that's the case, Disney, why the hell are you making so many freaking live-action remakes? Lion King disappointed the shit out of me.
They don't acknowledge that most of their fan base is the young adults who grew up with these games as kids, who have gotten married, who have their own kids, who have got their own jobs, full-time jobs and stuff.
Yeah, the cousin I mentioned that played these games have kids now, and I've actually been and some of them are and granted they're still too young to actually fully play them, but we try to show, at least introduce them and show them a little step-by-step thing on that. But yeah, and also we introduce them to Disney films. Again, with Lion King, my niece has seen the original Lion King, and she loves it. The new one, she almost fell asleep. She was not into it. She was just so bored from that film. And the whole thing with the Hercules level is it's just a tutorial. And you don't need to have it be Hercules. And if you're going to make it Hercules, do something new with it.
And they had a tutorial level at the very beginning.
Yeah, though granted that one focused more on boss fights than anything.
It was way too short.
Yeah.
It was way too short. When I first played it, this is when I was playing it blindly. This was during my first 10-ish hours before my tech stuff went all shitty for that one time.
Also, it teases.
I was like, wait, that's it? We fight some Shadow Heartless, we fight Darkseid, and then we just go to the story.
Yeah,
which was Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
Yeah, which, by the way, they do this whole thing where, again, they even tease that they're going to do something. They're going to do other stuff like Pandora's Box because, and we'll get into this, where Pete and Maleficent are back and they're trying to look for the black box, and they look for Pandora's Box.
And that's all they're doing, and they barely
I'll
show
get into it. Let's just focus on this right now because we're going to be Then after that, but yeah, and they show Pandora's Box. I think, okay, well, we have a really cool level of Pandora's Box. No, it's just there, and Pete and Maleficent don't even try to like use it as a weapon or something. Like, I'm pretty sure that would come in handy, but screw it, apparently. After that,
now I remember. It just came and went like that.
Yeah, like really.
I just didn't give a fuck.
I thought that would do something interesting with it. And then after that, we have the other levels, which depending on how you chose to play it. You start with, like, what was the first level you went with after Hercules? Like, what was the first...
I went to Tangled right away.
And Tangled, as a gameplay, it's fun, but the story is so weird. They cut out so many elements of the story.
I liked it. It was good overall, but...
Gothel was useless as a character. She didn't... Like, her boss fight was interesting, because they decided to change it up by having her become a Heartless.
Yes.
In fact, that's the thing that they do in this level, in this game, where like, which I thought was kind of interesting. I wish they played more with it. Is that they actually made some of the villains Heartlesses. But yeah, Gothel becomes like a Heartless, which that was as pointless as it is. At least that's something interesting going down. And it's a cool boss fight.
Oh, you didn't mention the better part. She became a Heartless she didn't become a Heartless until she was transformed into a Heartless by Marluxia.
Yeah,
because they can do that. The organization can apparently make you into a Heartless after you die, even though I thought the whole point of Heartless, after all these years, was that if your darkness is overwhelming enough, you return as a Heartless on your own.
I guess they were implying that, I don't know, maybe like she was full of hate that much, but I don't know. It was so freaking weird, and like, but also, again, what was the point of her? Like, I was actually kind of curious if they actually got, I didn't look this up, so maybe you did, and maybe you can inform me on this. Did they actually get the voice actors from Tangled to voice her? Because if they did,
to voice Gothel?
Yeah.
I think so. I think it was Donna Murphy.
What was the point? What was the point of hiring her if you're not even going to have her, like, do any, like, crucial moments? This is literally her scenes. She finds out Rapunzel's missing. Encounters Marluxia. Her eyes turn pink. Then they reenact that whole scene where Rapunzel is being attacked by the bandits, but they change it to Marluxia instead. And then Gothel takes her, and then she has a whole realization, then she turns into an old woman and dies. Okay? That's and all those scenes like took maybe like a minute long. What was the point of all that shit? What was the point of hiring that actress if you're just gonna do that? Hell, Hans! Oh my god! Like, Hans! He doesn't even show up in here. Like, they don't even do him. Like, I don't think we even see his face, except for, like, maybe one moment. I honestly forgot he was a thing for a majority of it.
He had no lines for some reason.
Yeah, like, and the funny thing is, really, you will go through all that money to get the voice actors from the movie back. I do know that for all the actors for Frozen, they did get all the original actors for that film, except for Han. Well, I hope not. I hope they didn't do that whole thing of, they hired an actor, but he didn't actually say
That's pretty
anything.
ironic. But in regards to voice actors, I might as well bring this up now. First of all, I don't think I looked into this yet. I think that was Zachary Levi voicing Eugene.
Yeah, it was. It was him.
Yeah, and for so long, when it came to Rapunzel, I kept telling myself, just hear me out here. I kept telling myself, why is Mandy Moore performing this way? There's something really off with Mandy's performance in this, and she's usually so damn good with Rapunzel and all. It's like they directed her wrong, or she tried too hard to be this way and that way. And then, not too long ago, I actually looked it up, and I'm like, that wasn't even her! That wasn't even Mandy! Why the fuck did they get anybody else to play Rapunzel other than Mandy Moore.
You got Gothel's voice actress, and she didn't do much.
And you got Zachary Levi, apparently.
Yeah.
Why the fuck didn't you get Mandy Moore?
Yeah, like, I wasn't really... Like, let me see what this actress has done, because I've heard this name before, so I'm gonna just look it up.
I think it's like Susan something or other. I don't know. Whoever she is, no offense to her, I'm sure, she had an opportunity, and she took it, and she tried her best. I could tell she tried her best, because I thought it was Mandy. I thought it was Mandy Moore voicing her.
Yeah.
And that she was just very off, but... My God, it does not work. In the end, it does not work.
And this is kind of just, again, it makes you wonder, like, what's up with the budget here? Because you'll get some voice, like, they pick and choose which voice actors go for, and the thing is...
I think this is more Disney's fault. I think this is more Disney's fault.
I think this is everyone's fault here, because, like, seriously, why, I feel like they got the more expensive actor, like, some of the more expensive actors for some cases, because they decided to go for lesser scenes. But for major roles, they decided to go for, like, different actors to take over.
Because it's cheaper. In regards to Square Enix, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but in regards to the actual original Square Enix Japanese staff and so forth, they get the original Japanese cast from the respective Disney movies. Like, they get Rapunzel's Japanese actress from her movie, and Gothel and Eugene and so forth. Why don't they do the same? Why don't they put the same amount of effort in getting as many people back in regards to the American actors? Like, literally less than half of the voices you hear are the original American actors. And,
yeah, see, Zachary Levi, like, when we get to Rapunzel, like, yeah, like...
Rapunzel is voiced by Kelsey Lansdowne. However you pronounce it.
But yeah, Zachary Levi also played...
I was just watching this interview of Mandy Moore from about a year ago, and they do...
Oh, yeah, that's why I remember. She was Barbara Gordon in Arkham Origins. Yeah.
What the fuck? And I love that game. But anyway, Mandy was saying in this interview, they spent a good few minutes talking about Rapunzel and all, right? And she said, the interviewer was kind of manipulating a bit, saying... It's fun to voice a Disney princess, but not forever. It's fun to voice Rapunzel, but not forever. Am I right, Mandy? Because they were talking most about This Is Us and other stuff. But Mandy, as soon as he said that, Mandy just brightened up and said, I will voice Rapunzel for the rest of my life. I will always voice her. And it's very different with animated work and yada yada. And she specifically said, later in that interview, it'd be very weird for anybody else to try to emulate my voice, to try to recapture my voice, because that just would not feel like Rapunzel. So what the fuck happened here? Does anybody know what the fuck is going on?
Maybe they just didn't think, they could afford her and stuff, because again,
no offense...
I don't know how the budget works.
No offense to Mandy, I've looked up her net worth and stuff. She is much more accessible than other people.
That's kind of sad to hear then. What's going on? That's the question.
Why didn't they get her? They had her in all these other things. I've seen all these other games and storybooks and stuff or whatever.
Yeah, you can get Shazam, but you can't get...
You can't get Mandy Moore? Seriously? It's the same with Tim Allen and Tom Hanks. I don't care what excuses you have. Where Tom Hanks literally said in these interviews, oh, that's Jim's thing. That's my brother's thing, or whatever.
They do this a lot, actually, though. Like it or not, that's always been kind of Tom and Jim's thing, where for some reason they will, if Tom did a voice for a character, and they want to do either a parody or they want to actually incorporate it for a TV thing, and Tom can't. Tom will most likely not go for it. He might end up doing. He might say, "Sorry, I got other things to do," or they just can't afford him. So he'll go for Jim because he's more cheaper to go for.
He should have voiced him here, because this may be the only time we ever see Woody and the others, unless they're that desperate enough to recycle things again, to recycle Disney Worlds again.
Well, at least be happy that this wasn't the last time we would see Woody in the gang ever again. We had Toy Story 4, which I still have not seen.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
I have work, man.
All right, fine. Yeah, we were talking about voice actors and stuff. And like I said before, we could. I want to start actually summarizing the plot here, because we can nitpick forever, and as is currently the case, we only have so much time for this. So I'm going to summarize the plot as quickly as I can, and then we'll rant on more during the last minutes of the video, because there is plenty to rant about.
Yeah, we can go on forever on this.
But before I get into the main summary itself, like, this doesn't feel like a finale. They just, like he said, and I'll repeat in a somewhat different way, despite them saying they're going to end everything they have to here, they don't even come close. They just overextend, and they overcomplicate things again.
And we're getting a DLC, which I'm worried is going to do the exact same thing.
There's way too much sequel baiting. There's way too much sequel baiting in this game alone, and it should have just been its own thing. It should have just been Kingdom Hearts 3, and so far, as far as this Remind DLC goes, so far all it is just playing as these other characters.
Yeah, also,
in these scenarios.
To simply put it, 4 has to seriously streamline.
Yes!
If it doesn't, it's going to completely lose the audience. And
this has been such a fuck up that Kingdom Hearts 4 has to be the saving grace. It needs to be the God of War 4 of this franchise.
Yeah.
It needs to save...
They gotta cut off the spin-offs. Like, they gotta not do that. Like, again, like God of War did. When God of War came out, pretty much it was very similar to Kingdom Hearts. It was a big sensation. Everyone loved it. And they started making spin-offs, prequels, and stuff to kind of establish more of the story and give more to it. And, it was taking forever to the point where 2 and 3 were, like, really far apart from each other. And when 3 finally came out, they, unlike Kingdom Hearts, where they kept doing a whole bunch of crap and then just, answering, questions with even bigger questions, it knew when to end things. And it felt like a proper conclusion. And eventually, they did do another spin-off. They did another prequel, and the prequel didn't do so good. And then after that, they took a break in God of War, and then finally they did God of War 4, or simply God of War, 2018, as most people call it nowadays. And they said they are not doing a DLC. They weren't going to do any like prequels and stuff, or at least they weren't planning on doing any prequels right now. They were just going to focus on just doing a main story. That's what they need to do for 4. If they want to do a spin-off, you can do a spin-off, but please don't do too many, and also do not make them a forced requirement, okay? You can have them play elements into it, but have it be pretty minimal and stuff. Like, have a character be
subtle. And subtle.
Like, just have a character pop up and be like, oh, that character's cool, and hell, if you want to see that character, play the spin-off game. Or hell, if like you say, oh, I have this thing. Oh, we got this from this thing, and it's not even make it super important. Like, have it be like, oh, I have a new gummy phone, which by the way they added like gummy phone as a new mechanic, and they can do this thing now. Like, it's just kind of a ridiculous factor that I don't get. And then it's just a sad situation for this, because again, I'm not the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan, but I do.
Even though you've been dominating this video.
It's kind of weird. But I do enjoy the games, and, I feel bad for some more diehard fans, and Square Enix, I don't know what is going on with you people, but there's something going wrong. There's something wrong.
Fucking things up.
They have been, screwing things up on a horrible scale. Like, I talked about a little bit about Final Fantasy 15, about how that thing has been a mess, and I can go on for hours on that. But also just take consideration of also all the other products they've done. 7 was announced almost half a decade ago. That was almost half a decade they announced 7 was going to be done. 7's still not out. And then they announced 7's going to be split into 2 parts. So it might even take even longer for the second half to come out. Then we got this new Marvel game coming out, which at first we thought was going to be Ultimate Alliance 3, but apparently that's only for the Switch, which I'm not playing that because unfortunately, same reason why I didn't see Toy Story 4, I have work and I'm not made of money. I can't afford all that stuff. So, yeah, it's ridiculous with Square Enix. And when they announced that they're doing an Avengers game, I'm like, okay, that's cool, but it's a service platformer. So I gotta pay for a game that I already bought? I freaking hate service platformers, and it pisses me off because, it's Square Enix, and you feel like they should be better than that.
You think they'd get better over time. They would learn from their mistakes. They already had hit some deep rock bottoms in the late 2000s, early 2010s. and, with Final Fantasy and these other things, and you think they learn it something, but they don't. They don't learn a fucking thing. And I'm not too familiar with other things, even other Square Enix things, even in relation to Final Fantasy. The most I know is
13 was bullshit. I'll just say that.
But the most I know is in comparison with Kingdom Hearts and stuff. And it's time I went into the plot summary. But before I get into the plot summary, let me just say, on the one hand, well, first of all, I like the Disney levels a lot better than I like the main story itself. The main story itself is very extremely lackluster, but for some reason the Disney levels individually hold up a lot better.
Yeah.
They're not done that great. They're not done.
Some are better than others.
They're not done that special, or they're not. They clearly did not do enough for some more than others, but they were a lot more fun. They were a lot more enjoyable. But the main story clearly they did not give a shit about. They just
exposition.
That's just a infamous trope with animes and Japanese storytelling.
Which this thing thinks it is. It thinks it's an anime, which it really like. This thing treats itself more like it's an anime than an actual show. And look, if you want to do a Kingdom Hearts anime, I would have been fine with that. We have wanted that for years.
Yeah.
But this ain't anime, people. This is a freaking game. You gotta actually do more for your story.
Yeah, especially since it's much more complicated than what you did in the original game.
Yeah.
This Gaming Sins video, I think it was Dardican or something. At one point, he couldn't have said it any better. I don't agree with this completely, but I agree with it on some level, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
At one point, he literally said something along the lines of, the worst thing about all this is, he specifically says, Kingdom Hearts 3 has no plot. Kingdom Hearts 3 has no plot. It is just Sora, Donald, and Goofy doing this and that, this and that.
It has a plot, but it just lazily teeters through it.
Yep. And speaking of plot, let's just fucking get to it.
Alright.
So right off the bat, let me see here. We have a great prologue section of but before that, we have this very nice scene of a young Master Ericus and Xehanort having this chess match together. There's really good ambiguity, really good foreshadowing here and stuff.
Yeah.
And when it comes back later, it's done well. It's done good for the most part. Then we have the awesome Face My Fears prologue section.
Yeah.
They actually have more than one song, and they don't bring back the other songs, thank God, because we had enough of Sanctuary and Simple and Clean. I mean, I love Simple and Clean. I'll always love Simple and Clean, but I hate how they've recycled it repeatedly because they like to pretend that it's too difficult to make other songs for their respective games.
The weird part, though, is that for some reason in when the game starts, right before the game, you even start the game, they open it with this montage of all the Kingdom Hearts games, which pretty much recap you. And then when you actually play the game, they do another recap, except this time they have original footage and they play Face My Fears. Well, the other one was
more or less. But Face My Fears is a great song, though I'm a bit mixed about the whole Skrillex thing they put together. That was bizarre. And then we have the dream sequence where you go back to... the official name is the Station of Awakening, which even to me after all these years was always a bizarre thing to call it. I like to call it the Realm of Hearts because it has been confirmed that the platforms you go on in this dark dimension, those platforms are literally the hearts of those respective people. You're not there for that long. First you start off as original Sora, though you look fairly different because for some reasons KH1 Sora has shorter hair in comparison to the past. Then you briefly appear as Kingdom Hearts 2 Sora, and then after going through this brief training sequence where you fight Shadow Heartless and Darkseid, who I was happy to see again, right off the bat, like, you start in Yen Sid's tower where Sora must remember what it means to be a true hero, and he must go visit Hercules. In other words, this is literally what you saw at the end of the DLC in the 2.8 collection from 2 years back.
Oh yeah, that one. And then
I hated what they did at the end of that game. It just felt extremely out of place. And the moment that they showed The exact same cutscene in this game. I was like, you can see it in my Let's Play. You can see my Let's Play. I literally paused the game numerous times saying, "You did this! I already saw this! This was from 2 years ago! This is literally where we're starting off this game, huh?" And then we do this whole stupid thing of, "May your heart be your guiding key," which is a great phrase and all for other reasons, but we go to Olympus, and then, oh my god, Olympus was so fucking awful. It was so horribly rushed. The pacing was so horribly rushed and out of balance, and things did not match up, and Sora, I'll get more to it later, Sora did not feel like Sora, and they basically just splotched together the plot of the Hercules movie. Because they hadn't done it yet, so they might as well do it here. Just for the fuck of it.
We get a brief reference of Cloud, which is the only Final Fantasy reference we have.
Tetsuya Nomura said, "I really wanted to do Final Fantasy stuff, but I just couldn't figure out how to put it here. I just couldn't figure out how to work with it here." Yes, because you didn't figure out how to work with it in the other mainstream games. And, oh, did I forget to mention, you had a little thing with Cloud and Sephiroth that you did not resolve here in Kingdom Hearts 3. No, there's just no way I could have worked with it.
Not even like a scene of like Yuffie just being in like Twilight Town or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and long story short, you fight a bunch of Titans and Hades. Hades is totally wasted here. James Woods must have really been rubbing his paycheck.
Yeah, he must have, like, he had good, like, he still did a good job playing him, but, like, he just didn't do much. Like, we don't even do a boss fight with him. He's just,
yeah, and then we have that brief thing with Pete and Maleficent where they're looking for a black box.
Yep.
And you think they're going to have their own special supporting role, but they don't.
They just pop up occasionally, like, oh, just spoiler. They pop up occasionally, they say, "Oh, where's the black box? Is it here? Nope. Okay, let's get the hell out of here."
That is literally all there is to their role, and they already had major flaws as characters in the other games.
Ladies and gentlemen, the villains of the first game.
Well, Maleficent was the villain of one of the major villains of the first game, but Pete didn't show up till the sequel, until Kingdom Hearts 2, and what they did with him in there was better than what they did with him here. In that game, he actually did shit.
Yeah.
He actually commanded Heartless and did stuff. Here, the Heartless don't really have a leader. They're just there.
Yeah, that was one thing that bugged me. They don't explain where they're coming from. Like, is Xehanort trying to spread more chaos or whatever? And why are they even, like, attacking these particular locations in the first place? Like,
well, that's a problem with the games in general.
Okay, with the rest of the levels, they do try to explain. They at least try to give you at least some explanation. Like, I'll get into each one separately at a different point in time, but for let's say for Tangled, they do actually have an explanation like, Rapunzel, they're trying to make, a new Princess of Heart, so they want her to do it. That's why they're there. There you go. But, yeah, for characters like Hercules, you've been to Olympus, you failed, why are you back here?
And Hades specifically said, you can take your Heartless and go, because these Heartless are not mine. Well, then how the hell does this attack even happen?
And why are they themed like Olympus?
Yeah, and Pete and Maleficent themselves say these Heartless are not ours. We can't do shit about it. But whatever. I could go on forever about how Olympus doesn't work.
They beat them. There you go.
Yeah, they beat them, and the whole reason why Sora went there to begin with was literally over in like 10 seconds. Like, they have a little talk with Hercules in the midst of this chaos, and Hercules just says, "Oh, I just remembered with my heart, this and that," and stuff that Sora himself should already know because he's been through this again and again in the past. So why doesn't he figure this out on his own here? But whatever, they go to Yensid's tower to start their new journey. And in comparison with the other games, they don't really explain what the hell they're supposed to do here, except what? They have to find Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. They need to find the rest of their guardians, and Kyrie's being trained wherever else.
Yeah, and Sora needs to learn the power of awakening.
Yeah,
and meanwhile...
That was fucking pointless.
Yeah, and Riku's already ready. Speaking of Riku, him and Mickey are trying to find
Aqua. And that just connects back to the problems of Dream Drop Distance, because, like, long story short, that went through a horseshit excuse about... It was basically a long horseshit reason for Sora to be dropped back to level 1 and to not become an official Keyblade Master, even though they even said in the beginning that the title of Keyblade Master was just a formality. There's no special powers or anything granted. It is literally just a title that the Ensid gives.
Yeah, it's kind of like with Hunter x Hunter, where like there's like it's just a title that will give you privileges. It's not really meant to give... You don't get stronger out of it. You could be the strongest guy ever and still become a hunter.
And whatever, I don't remember.
Or not be a hunter.
It's been a while since I played. I don't remember exactly what they say here, but like they basically go into... This is basically one of many occasions where the characters are total assholes to Sora, saying, you need to learn the power of waking. Or you can't do this yet because you don't have the power of waking.
Or you can't do this without Riku doing this or something, which... Really? What? Okay, like, I know him and Riku were, like, kind of, like, childhood rivals, but what the hell? Why are they treating it like, oh, if Riku does it, you know, Sora will do it, or Sora will do it if Riku tells him to?
All this began because of everything that Sora did without Riku around, without Riku and Kairi around.
Speaking of Riku, him and Mickey are trying to find Aqua, and Mickey is kind of going through a little bit of this emo bender of just, I failed, wake me up inside. Like, seriously, which was, granted, that was hard to watch because it's like, because I love Disney, and I really don't want to see Mickey Mouse that depressed, but it works. It's a great moment with it. It's a nice, a nice scene with Mickey, but yeah, like that's all they're doing. They're just looking around, trying to find her. They have a boss fight, like, well, not a boss fight, but they have a fight with some Heartless. Riku loses his Keyblade, and it gets busted up, so he leaves it. And him and Mickey decide to just pack it in, and go, and just get him a new blade, which looks like a car key.
It looks like Fenrir, the Fenrir Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts 2. That's what I kept seeing it as. But whatever.
It does look like that. But I just thought more as a car key.
And like. Oh, right. Sora, Donald, and Goofy go to Twilight Town, where they meet Hayner, Pence, and Olette, who are not voiced by the same people from Kingdom Hearts 2. That also pissed me off. I'm like, seriously? You couldn't get... I
forgot all about Twilight Town, really. Like, I know that you go there, but it's mostly just bonus missions.
Square Enix didn't care either, because you barely get to explore any of Twilight Town. Remember how you got to explore Twilight Town in Kingdom Hearts 2? Yeah. Or in 358 Half Days? Not here. You literally just go to this, I forget what it is, like the marketplace. You explore the marketplace, you explore a bit of the woods and the sewers, and then you get to be outside the mansion, but you don't get to really go inside the mansion, except for this one scene where you think they're going to have the data Twilight Town come back, but it never does, and then you meet Ansem and Xemnas briefly, where they mock you, saying, haha, you're never going to get Roxas back. He was always pointless. He was always useless, whatever. But Sora's going to go on this big quest to rescue Roxas somehow, to make Roxas a full person again. This is one of the only times they make such a big deal out of it. And then they go on their big quest to... And the quest wasn't necessarily just to save Roxas. They kept reminding us when they did from time to time that they were searching for Terra.
Yeah.
And every time they did, I was like, oh, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing here? I thought...
Ventus.
I could have... No. They weren't even looking for Ventus. They were just looking for Terra. That's what they specifically said.
Yeah, I know they were looking for... I thought they also were looking for Ventus, too, because they were like, well, we need to get those guys... Yeah.
They are, but for some reason they didn't task Sora or any of the guys to do that. But yeah, I was like, oh, is that what we're doing? I could have sworn we were just here to do some more Disney shit for the sake of it being another popular Disney property. And then we have Kairi. Kairi appears fairly early in the game, but this is literally one of the only scenes she appears in before the climax. Most of her screen time is in the climax, and again, for newcomers to the franchise, nobody's going to know who Kairi is. Square Enix just expects you to know who she is and how important she is. And yeah, they did plenty with her in the original game, in Kingdom Hearts 2 and so forth, but they barely do jack shit with her here. She's just there. And most of the time, she's just training. She's not going out there and fighting and stuff, even though she specifically says in this letter that she's writing that she's done waiting. She's not waiting anymore. She's going to help. She's going to fight. But she barely does. She doesn't do that until the climax. And she even writes this letter. She writes this letter that never gets sent to Sora, which is both depressing and very frustrating, because what's the point?
Yeah.
What's the fucking point?
And then
And then we have her and Axel or Lee. Like, for so long I got confused as to why we had this whole thing where, like, when nobodies were destroyed, then the original persons came back. The original persons were resurrected. But the more I realized it, I'm guessing that, to put it simply, like, when the original people became nobodies, it was literally them who became nobodies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then after they died as nobodies, this and that happened, they became people again. So that way, unlike Sora and Roxas, they were not completely separate entities. They were essentially the same entity. Because they never take into account whether Sora and Roxas' scenario was the same as these other nobodies. That Zexion was different from Yenzo. That Evan was different from Vexen. That Marluxia was different from this other person, this original person.
Then Axel's... first he calls himself... Well, first he says Lee, but then he's like, you know what, just call me Axel.
Yes, because fan service. Because everybody recognizes him as Axel, and...
Yeah, they don't want to have to try to memorize another thing.
Whatever. Axel is trying to remember Shion when he looks at Kairi, but he can't remember her. And Shion does come back because she has to come back, but I have no idea how. It's never explained, and I hope...
I think Zemnis did something, I don't know. But whatever, let's move on, because seriously, this thing dragged on. There was so much we can drag on about.
Well, at this point, it's easy because most of it is just the Disney worlds.
Yeah.
With the main story barely coming back to play.
Yeah, let's talk. First we have Rapunzel, which pretty much again it's the level that establishes that we're doing they're trying to bring back the Princess of Heart, or make new stuff.
No. Then they try to overcomplicate things. They try to make things so unique by using this new Seven Hearts horse shit.
Yeah.
Where it's just the newest Disney princesses being given their own special role. But even so, that doesn't mean they should just completely...
Are we going to get a level where we have to go to New Orleans?
They shouldn't just completely exclude the original Princesses of Heart. Yeah. They clearly built up... They built up that the original Princesses of Heart were going to have some special role to play in Kingdom Hearts 3.
And they never come back.
Yensid literally says, after the original 7 completed their role, they passed on... He literally says this. They passed on their role to others. They passed on their role to others? What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
Is this literally like a deliberate decision, like, well, I'm done being a Princess of Heart, so here you go, I'm going to give it to this random princess that I've never met or know nothing about.
Yeah, and then... but we have the whole thing Marluxia.
Why didn't they just say that there were other Princesses of Heart in the universe than just those 7?
Yeah, or there's a stage, or there's a different stage of the plan where one has to there's one level to protect and one other level or something. But
why does the organization even need them to begin with?
They never do anything with them.
Their whole plan was for a clash, a Keyblade war between the 13 Seekers of Darkness and the 7 Guardians of Light.
Yeah. So
what was the point of having the princesses? I mean, yes, they alluded in past games that they would use the princesses as a backup plan in case whatever plan they had with the Guardians of Light failed.
Which apparently will happen in the next game, because they only did 2 princesses, unless you want to count Elizabeth.
And they never confirmed whether these princesses
They are. We both know they are.
Whether they are the new Seven Hearts or not. No, they never confirmed that.
No, they don't confirm it, but let's face it, they freaking are, because Frozen makes money, and Tangled's making money too with that TV show, which I still need to watch.
They did Tangled because it was popular enough, and they were already going to do Tangled long before the show was even announced, and the show, unfortunately, is getting very low ratings.
Really? I've been hearing good things about it, though.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that, but I'm amazed that Disney hasn't pulled it since it's barely getting...
They do it a lot, though. Like, let's not worry about that right now. But yeah, so...
As far as Tangled is concerned, the story is concerned...
It's just a choppy version of the movie.
And
that's actually how to sum up most of these levels.
One of the biggest problems was that Rapunzel... This is actually kind of a big deal. Rapunzel has the satchel and the tiara, but we never see how she got the satchel and the tiara back, even though we know from the movie Gothel gave it to her.
Yeah, and Flynn didn't, even steal it, so what the hell is up with it? Like,
we never see how that happened here. And
they really expect you to watch this movie. They expect you to be a major Disney fan to do it. So even
Sora, Donald, and Goofy are knocked... No. Sora was knocked out. Sora was knocked out at one point for hours, and Donald and Goofy somehow did not wake him up.
Yeah.
They literally just stood by his side for hours, never figuring out how to wake him up. And also, take note of this. When we have the famous moment where Rapunzel heals Eugene.
Yeah.
First of all, Sora, Donald, and Goofy were there after they killed Gothel. So you're literally telling me Eugene was dying this entire time, and Rapunzel never healed him. And if Sora, Donald, and Goofy were there, then guess what? Oh, Eugene is dying? Don't worry, we got Curiga. We got the cure spell.
Yeah.
No!
Heal!
No, apparently Rapunzel still has to heal him her way, even though Sora and Donald could totally do that, unless they really thought he was dead and there was nothing they could do.
Yeah, and apparently if it wasn't really that long, and they expected you to take 10 minutes to beat Gothel, yeah, he was dead for almost an hour for me. So, yeah.
And last but surely not least, Rapunzel's no longer part of your party after she gets her hair cut.
Yeah, you can't come back and use her.
That really pissed me off. I mean, what? She can't use the frying pan?
We can't use a level. We can't do a level where we did where we take place in the show.
Yes. No. They could have done some magic thing. They could have done some magic thing where Rapunzel could get her golden hair back whenever she wanted.
Yeah, they make it very clear that some of these levels are some of these levels are very finite, and you only get one shot to use them.
You only have one shot with Rapunzel. I mean, I'm glad they stuck with the movie story and all. I was afraid they were not going to cut off her hair.
Yeah.
But they did, and it was all fine and dandy.
Yeah, what was the next level after?
Toy Story. Toy Story was good, where it kind of follows the whole thing with the original game, with the old games in general, where
it's the same way Toy Story 2 opened, with Rex playing a video game.
And it was a Final Fantasy-esque game.
It was a clip of it's an actual clip of an old Final Fantasy game that they were in development before they did 15.
Whatever. And it has that empty feeling, but in a good way. In a good way, where Woody, Buzz, Ham, the soldiers, and Rex, they're the only toys left in Andy's house.
I thought Potato Head was there too.
No, they were the only toys left in Andy's house, and they have a Final Fantasy reference. I'm at level 47. I have you at level 47, but that Bahamut boss is really tough.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy, so. Long story short, Sora, Donald, and Goofy help them out to try to find where Andy and the toys are, but they don't find where Andy and the toys are, where Andy and everybody else is. They just know they're in some sort of fake copy of the real world, or whatever, because young Xehanort is here to fuck things up. Why is young Xehanort here? I thought he said in Dream Drop Distance he was going back to his time, and he was going to forget everything that happened.
Yeah, what is the point of doing all this? If you're time traveling, why are you doing this? Are you that lazy to find another Keyblade wielder that you need to get your younger self for this?
Yeah, they never explain why he came back, and he's literally his own servant.
Yeah, he has no one else serving under him. The boss fights in that level is actually pretty fun, but Yeah, it gets
Yeah.
ridiculous. I have to say, when it comes to
I do like the whole existential crisis that Buzz had,
yeah,
where like, can toys be much easier to brainwash, to not to be treated soulless, to be controlled, and whatever.
yeah, and they do kind of tease the fact, and like you can tell me this right now about Toy Story 4. Do they dive into the whole how do toys come to life type of thing? Because they address it a little bit in this movie. Not movie, in this game.
Oh, they do at the very end, and they say, "I have no idea."
Really?
Anyway,
They do kind of bring it up in Toy Story in this game, where like in this Toy Story level, because they have it where like they keep saying, "Oh, these guys haven't woken up yet," implying that they need it. Like something has to manifest for them to fully be conscious.
Toy Story was probably that much better than the Tangled level, and then we go to another zone of the universe where, like, depending on where you go next is, let's see, I think I went to Frozen first. I went to Arendelle first, which was a lot of fun, but here's the thing. You don't explore Arendelle itself. You just explore
a frozen frickin' tundra. The gameplay is awesome, but the story is crap, because it's literally...
I liked
it. It is frozen! It is just frozen! Except now it's even less going on. They even play frickin' Let It Go, which I skipped. Yes, I skipped that whole thing. I skipped that. I skipped Do You Want to Build a Snowman? I skipped all that crap. I was not dealing with this anymore.
Did we need Let It Go? Did we really need Let It Go, guys? We've had enough of it.
Yeah.
Do You Want to Build a Snowman? I was more tolerable above.
Because like, they only did it for like a minute, but even then I just didn't
No, they did it. They did it so that Sora could understand better what was going on.
Yeah.
And, I liked it that much better than Tangled. In comparison, I thought it was better handled than Tangled, and it had a really cool boss fight at the end where I think you were fighting Hans's Heartless.
Yeah, which is a badass fight. That was actually probably my favorite boss fight throughout the entire game, where you're fighting a giant ice wolf Heartless.
And the final cutscene they had for that level was one of a bunch of impressively looking cinematic cutscenes.
Yeah.
At least in some area. In regards to how Sora, Riku, and the specific Kingdom Hearts characters themselves look, they look way too cartoonish. For some reason, they look more cartoonish in the cinematics than they do in the in-game cutscenes.
Yeah, and then we have...
I don't understand why they look that way.
I don't know what's going on either on that. But yeah, we also have Marluxia, and she actually straight up lies to them that she already has...
Larxene?
Larxene. Yeah, sorry, Larxene. Where she lies and says, "Oh, we already have our 13."
And, like, you think that Sora, Dahl, and Goofy are finally going to remember Chain of Memories. You think they're finally going to remember Castle Oblivion. But they never do.
Yep, and then...
They never do. What is the point of not having them remember? And it gets even worse later on after they rescue Akko, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
We need a rapid fire. No. We need a rapid fire through the Disney stuff so we can get to the actual main story.
I'll go.
No. You've had your spotlight, okay?
Let me just come on. Let me just get. Let me just rapid fire throughout the whatever.
Monsters Inc. is separate from the movie. It's separate from the movie. You just try to get Boo home while getting past all these unversed, and for some reason, it's the only level you fight the unversed, apart from the very last battles, and it's a lot of fun. Monsters Inc. was probably one of the best in comparison. I mean, there's still a lot more they could have done, and Vanitas, apart from Randall, Vanitas was the main villain, although they somehow get rid of him like that, even though it should not have been that easy.
Yeah.
Even though they do a clever trick where they throw him through door after door after door. Mm-hmm. But he could literally use the power of darkness to teleport back to them like that, so that didn't really make sense. But whatever. It was fun to fight with Mike and Sully and to take the form of monsters. And I wish they had got John Goodman and Billy Crystal back, but whatever. And they clearly just recycled Boo's audio from the movie, but that was fine. Monsters Inc. was good. Very good. I did Big Hero 6 after that. Big Hero 6 was fun.
Yeah, that was my last level. I'd actually ended Big Hero 6.
And I like what they were trying to do. Like, they were trying to make it its own special story, its own special sequel story to the film and all.
Yeah.
And they even went so far as to have the original Baymax return.
Yeah.
The original Baymax that got lost in the climax, but was possessed by the dark. It was possessed by a dark chip and by the dark cubes, which I don't think they did much of anything with, apart from making an evil Baymax. And they have an evil Riku for some reason, which pretty much went nowhere. What they did with the Riku replica was better, because the Riku replica was one of the major antagonists from Chain of Memories. And, like, he had a very tragic ending, but he was a great character nonetheless. What they do with this evil Riku is just an evil Riku. There's, like, no depth to him whatsoever. He's just a...
I'm evil.
I'm an evil Riku. Bah! And he even... They've had this complicated time travel shit in the past, in Dream Drop Distance, which is so frustrating because... Time travel was easy as pie in Kingdom Hearts 2.
Yeah, rapid fire, man, remember.
With the magic door. Yeah, I'm just saying. Riku, the evil Riku literally says, unlike a certain wizard you know, I can do this and that. Or I don't need to do this and that in time travel. Whatever, fuck you.
He's not even a time traveler. They bullshit that one later.
And the Riku replica is by the real Riku's side. We see that later, but they barely do anything with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, then finally we have Pirates of the Caribbean, which, yeah, I didn't hate as much as the Olympus level, but, oh my...
It's still shit.
Oh my god, no, it was okay, but the story was so weak. Especially since they skip over Deadman's chest, and Sora, Donald, and Goofy are very out of place.
Why did they do, Stranger Tides? Literally, you would not have to worry about any of that crap.
But at least they got Gibbs back. At least they got the guy who played Gibbs to voice the Gibbs in this game.
What was the... Oh, my God. Yeah,
Tia Dalma was there, and she barely did shit.
Yeah.
Everybody barely did shit.
Yeah, and then the Jack Sparrow that you're hanging out with isn't actually Jack Sparrow.
Oh,
it's
God.
a freaking... it's a manifestation that Tia Dalma made up just to help Sora out, which... What was she helping him with?
And the real Jack Sparrow, like, had no idea of this other Jack's existence.
Yeah, like, Jack Sparrow doesn't actually... In fact, I sometimes forget that Jack actually knows that Sora's there. Because, like, they don't really interact with each other. Like, they talk to each other a little bit when they're running down to get the pearl in Davy Jones' locker. And oh yeah, that's another thing. For some reason, in this level, we have the black box thing again, because they think that Davy Jones' chest is the black box. But no, the dead man's chest is not that, because it turns out, oh, they meant literal heart.
Yes.
Which we all knew they would do that.
And that apparently, because this is rated for everyone 10 and up, you can't see a heart.
Yeah, and you can't even see him stab it, which, again, why do pirates? Why did we do pirates? And yeah,
because Pirates is popular. Johnny Depp is popular, or
not anymore.
Not anymore. Anyway,
they beat him. They win.
The whole thing with the Davy Jones boss fight was fun.
Yeah,
it was a lot more fun than that ship. Like, I mean, you went. He mentioned briefly this flying heartless thing, which was a bit of a pain, but it was simple enough to get through. My pain, and you can see it in my walkthrough. My pain was the fucking ship that took forever to destroy. I'm like, oh my god, fucking die already! Yeah. I leveled up my ship. More and more. I grinded just to destroy that one boss ship.
Also, here's my question: Why do the organization guys never like dress up or anything? Because really, these guys, like, really, no one's gonna question who the Black Cloak guys are. No one in the British Navy or any of the undead pirates are like, who the hell are these guys?
Well, the British were barely in it to begin with.
Yeah, oh yeah, they do Beckett's scene, and they actually, and at first, they bring in Beckett's character, which is pointless. Beckett has like all of 2 scenes, and the first scene is just him negotiating with Jack, and the second scene is the whole "it's good business" minus the really awesome walk away moment.
Yeah,
when like the ship's burning down. Which Sora, Donald, and Goofy are so okay with the fact they just killed a guy.
Well, I think they've killed people before. They just never harp on it or whatever.
Yeah, well, like no, but like it's always been like darkness and heartless and all stuff. No, this is like cold blood murder. They just said a dude. They just blew up a dude's ship.
Sora did refer to the Heartless specifically as monsters who go after people's hearts, and I did like that moment where Elsa says they're going after people's hearts. Like, you know, she's taking.
We're backtracking though. Whatever. So after
Pirates ends.
Yeah, Pirates sucks, and then you know.
but like they had this other stuff. We should explain this a little bit. Where like Ansem the Wise. They have that scene with Ansem the Wise, which apparently was right after the secret ending in Birth by Sleep with blank points or whatever, which also doesn't tie in well with another DLC where Aqua apparently already knew that Sora and Riku were doing their thing, even though the blank point secret ending made it seem like she just found out right there that Sora was the big hero and all. Oh, I must emphasize, Sora's the big hero and is doing all these incredible things. So we can't wait to be assholes to him in Kingdom Hearts 3. Ugh. But apparently this just happened. Ansem the Wise was confronted by Dark Ansem, and Dark Ansem, right on the spot, made Aqua into Dark Aqua and into Anti-Aqua, so she wasn't even Anti-Aqua for that long.
Just for one boss fight.
I could go on forever as to why that doesn't work and why that's very bad pacing, very bad concept. But other than that, Ansem the Wise is rescued by the Twilight Town kids and by Evan, who is revealed to be a good guy. We're led to believe at first that he's Vexen again, that he's the bad nobody again, who was a great villain in Chain of Memories and so on. But yeah, what are you gonna do? Evan does have that cool moment where he says, "You see, I too wish to atone," because there's this thing in the other games where the apprentices turned evil, they betrayed Ansem the Wise, and so forth. There's also the scene where Xemnas met with Luke Sword, Marluxia, Larxene, and Demyx. We actually see Demyx and Larxene interact with each other for the first time in the franchise.
Yeah.
And we see the same with Marluxia and Luxord. And Demyx nicknames Marluxia as Marley.
Oh, yeah.
And, but whatever, everyone's gathered. Larxene even says, "What is this, organization rehash?"
Yep.
Tell that to Nomura and the writers.
Yep.
And then Xemnas says, "Now think about it. Half of our number was made up of Ansem the Wise's apprentices. Then there was Axel and Isa, or Lee and Isa. Now what about you four? Why did I choose you four as the other members? It's time that you learned of your ancient Keyblade legacy." What? Huh? And then Xemnas just chuckles. "We will never explore this again."
Well, maybe in the DLC.
God damn it. And,
But, yeah, like the whole...
finally, all the Disney levels are done, and Riku and Mickey are trapped in the realm of darkness. Gee, we didn't see that coming.
Yep, Sora shows up, he beats Dark Aqua. That's literally the best way to sum it up.
Yes, Aqua bitched for a bit about how awful it was, even though she literally just became Dark Aqua.
Yeah, another time she was pretty chill about it. And then after that, we got... after that whole situation, they are talking about Ventus, and, you know, they're like, "Oh, Ventus is in Castle Oblivion," and you go back to Castle Oblivion. Do you think it's going to be something real?
They find out that Ventus is inside Sora's heart, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to make a big deal out of it.
Yeah, but then, but also he's in Castle Oblivion. They go down to Castle Oblivion, and they're like, "Okay, what are we going to do about this? Are we going to do a whole level? Nope, we're just going to rearrange Castle Oblivion."
Oh, even though Aqua transformed the Land of Departure into Castle Oblivion because of the special lock behind Ventus's chair. Here, she just does it from outside the castle. And it goes back to normal like that. And Sora, Dawn, and Goofy still don't remember Castle Oblivion.
Yeah, they go. Yeah, the point is, they go down there. They end up fighting against. They end up fighting.
Vanitas.
Yeah, Vanitas, and it's pretty... Well, they go through that. They eventually wake up Ventus. I know there's a whole bunch of stuff I'm missing out, but who really...
Which was one of the best parts of the game, is when Ventus wakes up. It's very nice scene. It's
and he hasn't aged a day. Seriously, does the castle like...
Neither has Aqua, and neither has Terra.
Well, Aqua, you can argue that maybe it's because the whole, like, oh, she's just been, like, that land suspends, like, stops your agent and stuff, but...
Whatever.
Whatever.
And they bring Terra back. They bring Terranort back, even though they didn't really need Terranort, except for fan service, because they're lazy.
And they just want to end that storyline and stuff. They just realized it wasn't going to go anywhere.
And Sora, even though he clearly remembered meeting Aqua in Dream Drop Distance, he doesn't remember meeting her at all here. He just goes, I'm an idiot.
I feel like they've mistaken him for Goku. Actually, no, that's an insult to Goku. He has smarter moments.
Even Kairi doesn't remember shit. Kairi's like, my memories are hazy. Like, they still don't explore her past.
Yeah.
Like, they alluded that they were going to in the other games.
Yeah, and then Axel pretty much just pretty much becomes the audience of, this is really hard to memorize here. Ventus looks like Roxas, or Roxas looks like Ven. Now I gotta explain to him what that's all about. Like, what the hell are we doing here? Eventually it leads to this whole...
And apparently Jiminy Cricket has gummy phones for everybody.
Oh, here's a better question. Jiminy's been with them this whole time. This entire game, Jiminy's been with them. Where has he been hiding? Has he been hiding in Sora's shirt? Because holy shit, that guy is durable as hell, then.
That's been his issue. That's been his deal this entire franchise. He barely does anything except in Chain of Memories. In Chain of Memories, he was awesome.
Yeah, but
and apparently he makes cell phones for everybody, but the cell phones are there just to be cell phones.
Yeah,
because that's modern now.
Yeah, instead of saying, oh look, a Mickey sign right there. Because apparently that's...
And they have these stupid social media pages, which I hated so much. Like, what are these things? Where do they come from?
Yeah, we don't really need social media in this game. But
in this universe.
Yeah.
Like, and then finally, we get to the final battle. We get to the Keyblade Graveyard, and we finally see Xehanort. Like, Xehanort.
The real deal.
Old Xehanort.
Unfortunately, though, not played by Leonard Nimoy.
He passed away in 2015, God rest his soul. And God rest the soul of that Japanese dude, I think it was Shizuki Osaka, who originally voiced Xehanort. The Japanese actor that got to replace him for this game, he does a damn good job recreating the original Japanese voice. The guy who voices Xehanort is nowhere even close to Leonard Nimoy.
He's decent, but you can tell... But yeah, it's clearly not the same guy. Like, hell, Frank Welker... Wait, did they actually get Frank Welker for that voice? Actually, I never checked to
I
see
don't know.
I'm making a check
when
with
Xehanort, when old Xehanort finally appears, he just says the same speech we've heard in the other games, particularly with Ericus in that one flashback. And I'm like, whether I was watching it on YouTube or whether I was playing it myself, I was just sitting there like, you've got to be fucking kidding me. Did they even try to do something special with this? He has all his buddies, all his Seekers of Darkness there saying, we're here for the big clash, we're here for the big Keyblade War, but even though I could have literally just sent these guys out to kick your asses anytime I wanted, but I didn't.
Yep.
And
then they all die.
Everybody dies. First they fight a bunch of Heartless, then they confront Terranort, and then Terranort kills them all with a bunch of Heartless, and then Sora ends up in the final world.
Yep.
He meets Chirithy, who is this ancient Dream Eater from the times of Kingdom Hearts Key, or Kai as I like to call it. And Sora has to recomplete himself because he's hanging by a thread. He needs to find all the pieces of Sora in order to essentially resurrect himself. And he meets all these other lost hearts who have been drawn to the final world. He also finds Naminé there. This is the only scene in the entire game that Naminé has any lines in, and we don't see her, even though she's on the cover of the game. What the fuck was the point of that?
Yeah. Then after that, we got this...
And we also have the girl, the patient. There's this big mystery regarding Patient Zero, who has the special connection with Lee and Isa. Which I'm fine with, but it could have been worked around differently.
Yeah.
We could
what point is Sora wakes up, same events happen, but this time he wins.
Well, first he has to go after that leech Heartless or whatever. He has to save everybody's hearts. But yeah, that's all done and dandy. He's also saved by Kairi. This is like one of the only useful things Kairi does is that she helps out.
Yeah.
And then literally the exact same thing happens again. It's literally the exact same thing, except this time, the lingering will comes. Because Naminé got him. Naminé said she would get him.
Yep.
And
it leads to a whole thing of, like, yeah, they just go through a bunch of fights. We eventually even get, like,
and the lingering will disappears. There's no boss fight. I thought it was going to be a lingering will boss fight with him, but there isn't.
Yeah.
These boss fights, oh my god, these boss fights were so pathetically easy. It feels like you go through them like that. It's like you're speed running.
Yeah.
I don't think I even needed a grind. I grinded for a couple hours.
I did grind for, like, the Xehanort one a little bit, because I did feel like I needed because, yeah, the Armored Xehanort fight is pretty difficult. You feel like I felt like I needed to backtrack, and I did grind a little
after
bit there.
you kill all the nobodies, all the organization people, and they all say they feel liberated now, they feel free now.
Except for Lushu, who's like, peace.
Zigbar's like, peace, even though there literally was no reason for him to do that, to just go up there and just fall off. Because he was about to die.
Yeah. Or fake his death, because again, I don't think he was even a nobody.
And they try to have this touching moment where you finally axe off young Xehanort, who says, Sora, you're gonna be fucked!
Yep.
And it goes away. Xemnas has this cool thing where Xemnas is like, a heart is nothing but pain and this and that. But Sora says, no it's not, dude. No it's not. Goodbye.
Yep.
And then we have this one cool moment with Ansem where, like, after he shares some stuff with Riku, Sora just says Ansem. Because this was the original bad guy. This was the very first bad guy, and Ansem finally says something to Sora. Because he's barely said anything to Sora after the first game, after the original game, where he just said, let it go, boy, let it go, and then goes away. But Xehanort, despite all this, Xehanort has the upper hand. He has all the keys he needs, and for some reason...
He kills Kairi.
He kills Kairi, which is a shocking moment, but why? Why did he kill Kairi? Why did he need to kill Kairi? He even says, you require motivation. I think this is literally the only time he ever says Sora's name. Now, Sora, we must do this and that. Oh, Sora is the star here. I could have sworn he wasn't, because everybody was being such an asshole to him.
Like, okay, look, to anyone that's saying here, look, I'm not saying that your game, like, your story can't have characters give your main character shit, but be consistent here. Don't just have where everyone's nice to him and they're all pretty chill with him, and then for the final game, for some reason, have him be, shit on. But whatever. They fight Xehanort. Xehanort sends them to
No, he doesn't send them. He forms the Kai Blade, which is the ultimate Keyblade.
Yep.
And he opens up Kingdom Hearts, and despite past games saying that Xehanort's ultimate plan was to balance light and darkness, was to enforce a balance of light and darkness, now his whole plan this entire time was to purposely bring about a second apocalypse, very much like what the Keyblade War did in ancient times.
Yeah, darkness.
Because that's supposed to somehow make things better by rebooting everything, by restarting everything.
The explanation: something dark side, something complete.
And that was, and he did that. He pulled off that horse shit after you finally beat him. He never says anything about how or why he's doing it beforehand. He just
but when you first after he unlocks Kingdom Hearts, he
re-unlocks Kingdom Hearts. Everybody says we'll hold him off, and Sora says, I'm going to go stop him. I'm going to use him as a time portal. Everyone agrees we're going to use him as a time portal.
Yeah, and they go to where did they go again?
Scala Ed Kylum.
Oh yeah,
which is the Nexus. I like this concept. I will admit this is also a good concept, apart from the final world and so forth. Scala Ed Kylum is the Nexus of all worlds.
Yeah.
It is at the beginning of the universe.
And it was I never, to be honest here, I never actually remember the name of the place. I just remember where it translates to, which is Stairs to Heaven. Xehanort tells him a little bit about the place, about how, it was a nexus, but also it was the home of great Keyblade wielders. And then we have the boss fight with these new guys who, they're not new guys, they're the Organization 13 guys, but now they have a cool armored look going on. Though for some reason they have stilettos.
Yeah, and we don't explore the world. We just get right into the final
Yeah,
fights.
like they even make it clear it's a ghost town. There's not really much to go by. It's really empty. The only people there were copies of Xehanort. And after you beat those guys, which is a piece of cake, you face off against Armored Xehanort, which is a much more difficult boss fight. It's pretty cool. You actually have to you really have to change the environment. The entire everything's upside down, side to side. Really cool level. Then after that, you get to the final boss fight for reals, where you use where Xehanort now uses the Kaya Blade in the battle, and it's a pretty cool fight. Pretty good.
It's much easier for some reason.
Yeah, it's weird, right? The armored one was way more difficult, and I felt like I had to grind for that one. That one, it took me only like maybe 1 or 2 tries to win. Then after that, we have the whole, and this is a really cool moment in here where Sora's like flying down. You think you just got the game over level, but then you hear Donald saying Sora, and you wake up, and then you beat him. And we have.
We're gonna be assholes to you again if you die.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah, and they beat him, and like Xehanort's like, I wanted to win, I wanted to do this, and we even have this whole thing where Ericus shows up, the ghost of Ericus, which good on you guys for keeping him freaking dead. You guys kind of retcon a lot of deaths in these things, but yeah, he says
Mark Hamill in his glory is as Ericus again, whereas the young Ericus was voiced by Drake Bell, which was a great choice. They did a great job.
Yep.
And young Xehanort in both those flashbacks and the current events was voiced by Ben Diskin, a.k.a. Number 1 from the Kids Next Door.
Yep. But yeah, after everyone, Ericus apologizes because he feels responsible for what happened to Aqua, Ventus, and Terra. It's a very sweet moment. But then after that, he talks to Xehanort, and Xehanort's like, I guess just decides to die. Like, he's just so weak, he just can't keep going anymore.
Yeah, Xehanort tries to stand his ground at first. He does have this cool moment where he says, "It's too late." And Ericus is all like, "Maybe for us, but not for them. Like, it's time for the kids to take over."
Yeah.
And Xehanort tries one last time to make a stand, but Ericus just says, "Enough."
Yeah.
Checkmate.
Yep, and
He
then
says
they just go, yeah, and then after that Xehanort, I guess, dies, and then we have...
I'm ready to go to Kingdom Hearts now.
Yep.
They go to Kingdom Hearts. They ascend to Kingdom Hearts as BFFs.
Yep. I'm pretty sure you'd be going to hell, but alright. But, yeah, then it ends with this, this fun little... Well, first it ends with Sora saying, I'm gonna go find Kairi. And this time he's gonna do it solo, no one's coming with him.
And this is after, like, they lock Kingdom Hearts, right?
Yeah.
I feel like they should have specifically said, Kairi's dead, what are we going to do? But no, they just say, she's out there all alone.
Yeah, so I guess it's either we're going to pull some Hunter x Hunter shit, and say, funny, I actually mentioned Hunter x Hunter twice now, Hunter x Hunter shit where it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be like Kite, where like, oh, he's not dead, he's fine, oh no, he really is dead. I feel like, are they going to do that with Sora? Where it's like, oh, I think she's still alive, no, she really is dead, dude, she ain't come back. But obviously that wasn't the case, because after Sora does this and he leaves, we have this fun little montage moment, which is supposed to tie up everything, but no, it doesn't. There's so many questions still going on. We see all these characters, their stories are ending and continuing. We see that, Naminé, she's she's fine now, she's gonna be hanging out with Riku, and I guess Riku took the gummy ship.
We forgot to mention that, everyone did come back in the other final battles. Terra came back one way or another. Yep. So did Roxas and Xion. And they made a big deal about Roxas coming back, but not so much about Xion. But yeah, everyone, apart from Naminé, everyone's here chilling out on the beach. And
yeah.
And
they play, like...
they play Don't Think Twice.
Yeah, and it's a really... Yeah, and then we see Sora and Kairi is back, but then Sora disappears, which... That makes me wonder, was Sora really there, or did he also disappear? And how did Kairi get back?
Supposedly he used the power of waking. They alluded that he was going to do that he was going to use the power of waking to get her back. But because he used it to this extent, that kills him.
Yeah, or possibly doesn't kill him. We don't know. They're kind of they're vague with this. But then it ends like this is the second time that Sora has sacrificed himself for Kairi. Yeah, the first time.
The first time was in the original game where he committed seppuku. He used the Dark Keyblade to commit seppuku and impale his heart. which not only saved the Princesses of Heart, but it also saved Kyrie, but also killed him. It was a sort of Jesus thing going on.
Yeah,
and then in the first climax of that game.
But let's continue. Then we get two end scenes. The first end scene is a scene of young Ericus and young Xehanort, and they're talking about how they're, they have, that was a fun game and stuff, but now Xehanort has Ericus has a new game to play, and this new game involves, like, different chess pieces and stuff, and after that, he's like, well, what do we do now? Just watch. And he just, they just start playing the game. The second ending is, well...
Which is the first ending.
The first ending, yeah, I mixed up, I'm sorry. Is Luxu revealing that I am actually, I was Xigbar, and that, Rava and I were just doing our jobs, and the reason she... Ava, sorry. Ava just, for a minute there, I thought it was Avatar. Ava did her job, but now, and I finished my job, I finished my role to play, and they're like, okay, what was your role? What did you just do? And he's like...
Who are we talking about here? We're talking about the Foretellers. The Foretellers are back. They were the ancient Keyblade masters who started the Keyblade War, and now they're back for some reason. They look exactly the same. They haven't aged a day. Why are they back to begin with? Why do they have to be back? The writing is just so lazy. Like, you can see they're going someplace special with it, but
yeah. Oh, and then Pete Millicent shows up. The black box is there, guys. You see it? You gonna get it?
And
no.
They said earlier. They said earlier, the black box doesn't exist yet. They can't. How does she know that? How does she know that the black box doesn't exist yet?
The bottom line.
And then Xigbar says, "I hope you like long stories."
Yeah. You better.
And then there's another post-credit scene where, like, they're in a...
Yeah, but you only do that if you do the completionist thing.
There's, like, a... Who knows what the hell it means? I'm sure Nomura's having a buzz of a time, figuring out... Like, he thinks he's a genius or whatever, because the last scene is just them in a city. Sora and Riku...
They're actually in Tokyo.
Sora and Riku in Tokyo, okay. But whatever. That is Kingdom Hearts 3. That is fucking Kingdom Hearts 3. How are you going to wrap this up?
Simply put it, again, I think I've summed up pretty much with all my with a little bit of the rambling I did. And that is great gameplay, well, decent gameplay, and, a mediocre story. If I had to actually rate the game as... if I had to rate the game in the same grading system we do with the Marvel videos, I have to give it a solid C+. The gameplay is great and the graphics are good, but yeah, the story is really clunky and it doesn't really work out. And when you go for the individual ones, as good as they are, some of them are just not necessary to talk about.
Yes, the Disney ride attacks. Well, I do like the idea and all. I mean, they came in way too soon. They came in the very first level, and they're clearly supposed to be like ultimate attacks. Why are you getting ultimate attacks in the first level? And without any explanation whatsoever, let alone the Disney summon attacks. Which I explained in BC before. There should have been some context to that, but there isn't. But long story short, God, this game's a fucking mess. I really hope things are going to get better from here. I really do. I'm going to keep holding on to a dream or whatever. Yeah. Keep wishing upon a star.
Yeah.
And
Disney, we love you, but man, you need to get this working. Or
Square Enix, we still have some respect for you, but get your fucking shit together, because even though the Disney levels were better, the story just doesn't hold up well enough. It sucked donkey ass. In a way, it sucked donkey ass. This is just so pathetic at this point. Yeah. After all these years, you'd think they'd actually give us a solid enough story. I give it a D-. D fucking minus. It barely saves itself from being just a flat-out bad game. Despite all the good that the Disney levels had, the main story did not hold up. Sora was such...
Yeah, we could go on. We really could go on.
I really did not like Sora in this. He's not the same character I grew up with, and I want Sora back. I want Kingdom Hearts back. This just doesn't feel like Kingdom Hearts anymore. I fucking God, it doesn't. But yeah. Take Kingdom Hearts 3 for what it is. Hope Kingdom Hearts 4 will be better. Hope the Kingdom Hearts franchise itself will get better. as time goes on.
And pray that we don't get a 3.1 or something.
Yeah, and that is that. Okay, thank you for sharing your precious time with us. We're sorry we ranted more than we did explain the plot and shit, but I'm especially surprised I didn't get to dominate this as much as I wanted to, unlike him, and he's not the biggest Kingdom Hearts fan.
Yeah, surprisingly.
But I certainly will in future videos, and I very much look forward to that. But until then, look forward to plenty more content in the very near future, and may your heart be your guiding key, everybody. Peace, love, and Kingdom Hearts. Take care.